Okay, all right, welcome to Surviving Senior Year. It's great to see everyone tonight, and we have some participants joining us online as well, so welcome to everyone. My name is Debbie Burke, and I am one of the co-presidents at the high school this year. I'm actually outgoing president, so I'm just finishing, not everybody does 2 years, but this is my second year, and I'm just now finishing that. So we will have a change of the guard next year. But, and I have, just to tell you a little bit about me, I have a daughter who just finished her sophomore year of college at LMU. I have a graduating senior this year, and then I have an 8th grader that will be coming into the high school next fall. So that's me. Okay, so starting off, I love this quote by Dr. Seuss. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know. You are the guy who will decide where to go. And so I just love that. Our seniors are all on different paths, and it's true that there are so many options and so many things that can happen. That being said, senior year at Mercer Island High School, there's a lot that happens. And so we're glad we have the chance to kind of come together and sort of give you an overview and then give you an opportunity to ask our experienced parents here who have survived questions about, and it can be academic based. I just want to reiterate though, this is parent to parent. So there's not a this is an okay, this is not an okay question. If you're wondering about something, ask, because we are here to talk to you as parents, and we want you to just feel free, whatever is on your mind, social, emotional. If you have questions about any of the events, just know that that we're here to help with whatever questions you might have. So, okay, to start, there's several different places that will help you stay organized senior year. The MIH's website, which I'm not going to take time to go into because it is in the process of being changed. A lot of these are under construction, but if you can remember just what they are, the website, the daily bulletin, the high school daily bulletin on the website. I've seen that come back a little bit this year. I know it's sort of hit or miss, but the daily bulletin has been pretty consistent this year with what's going on that day and the things that are happening at the school. The counseling department newsletters, senior year becomes really important. Those monthly newsletters that they send out. And if you happen to accidentally delete the email on the counseling website, they have an archive of all of them. There are some really helpful ones for seniors that they send out, giving timelines and instructions for different things. The PTA website, which is also in process of being converted to a new format. But the senior tab on the PTA website, and we will introduce her a little bit more later, but to my left here is Suzanne Riley. And so she is our communications extraordinaire. She is the one that actually updates a lot of this information on the senior tab and is amazing at coordinating with the high school, figuring out what current information is available from the high school and putting it on that senior tab. So if you're ever not aware, not sure of what's going on, or you want to know a date, that senior tab on the PTA website, we really work hard to keep that up to date. You will also get email updates from the PTA. So we will send, there's several targeted emails every year towards senior families to kind of say, hey, here are some things to keep in your view right now. So then this, I don't think it's been developed for next year yet. The senior Facebook page is something that has come up over the last few years. And I don't believe it's been set up for 2023 yet. In fact, last year it got set up right after our seminar when the parents went and formed the group. You can pick 1 or 2 administrators. This has been, I have a senior this year, and I have actually contributed to it. I have a little bit of an inside track on what's going on as PTA president. So I've tried to share on it, but I also have learned a lot being on that Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook at all, I would highly encourage you to join that because it's a really good source of, and if you have a question as a parent, you can say, hey, I'm wondering about this. It's just it's been a really great source of help and information. Instagram, I don't know if any parent groups on Instagram, but the students have a couple of Instagram feeds going, which are really fun to follow as senior parents. There's one that's, I don't remember the exact names of them. I think it's class of 2022. And as they decide what their plans are for after school, they can go in and put their senior picture and announce what they're doing the next year. And that's really fun to sort of just follow what's going on with the seniors. There's a couple other spirit groups on Instagram that you may want to just search Mercer Island High School. But those are kind of just for fun to kind of stay in touch with what the students have going on. And then Naviance. Are you all familiar with the term Naviance and what Naviance is? Okay, there's another slide, but that you can sign up as a parent on your student's account in Naviance also. Okay. What is Naviance? So it's a web-based service for the college and career process. Juniors should have their own account. It's connection.naviance.com, MIHS. It helps them do it's a really comprehensive tool to help them identify colleges. Brainstorm college choices. They can go in and help narrow down, research colleges on your list. So you can actually go in and look at different schools and see different features, and they can get an understanding of the types of schools and the types of schools that match some of the things that they're looking for. And so it's just a really great, for my older daughter, it helped her narrow it down. She had like 80 schools she wanted to go to, and it helped her really focus in, and we got her down to like 11 by the time she applied. So it's really good at helping. It's a really good initial tool for helping to really focus in and identify what it is that you're looking for. It's the schools that will have those features. It helps with your organizational process. You can access scholarships through it. There are also additional documents. And then your senior year, your Naviance account actually facilitates your college application process. So this is really a key base for your junior to be dialed into for the college process. Okay. Senior year has a lot of activities. This is a list of lots of them, and don't worry, they come up one at a time, but just so you can get sort of an idea of what's coming up senior year. In August, they want to make sure and apply for a parking pass if they would like a spot. Seniors do get first priority for parking spaces. Anyone who has a driver knows about fighting for spots on the strip, so that's a really helpful one. They need their ASB photo. These two were in August. Typically, there is some sort of a senior sweatshirt or a t-shirt order. The kids are really organized and good about communicating with each other. They put each other all into student groups. So they are actually really tightly in communication with each other. There are some student-driven things. There's senior prom, there's senior assembly, there's senior nights for sports. You've got music awards, senior award nights, senior finals, there's baccalaureate, there's graduation, there's the senior party after graduation. Then you've got college applications. So there's just a whole lot going on senior year. These are the official things. Then there's the unofficial stuff as well. But this is all of the official stuff that's happening with the school. And we'll break that down a little bit more. The counselors can be very helpful in walking through and in navigating this process. They work with each student on the high school and beyond plan. They can share information about college bound, trade and tech school, and gap years and work. So they can help your student explore what their path is going to be once they get out of high school, whatever that path is. There's a counselor of the day available every single day in that table right next to the comments. For questions, they can help guide where to apply. And they are the ones that work in Naviance to upload school documents. Transcripts and other really important things. They're the ones that actually facilitate all of that. The timelines. We have a few slides that give some suggestions and timing, things to be watching for. The biggest thing to remember is each child is different. Each child's going to be on their own timeline. With some of these, you might not be in that same quadrant, like with the timing. So just know that this can be flexible and that it is very individual with each kid. Know your son and daughter, help them keep things in perspective. This is a time that can be super overwhelming, and the biggest thing is to take a deep breath and know that everyone will end up on a path that is right for them after school, and it will all be okay. That's the biggest thing, is take a deep breath and just know that, because it can really be easy to get caught up in a lot of the pace and the stress of junior year sometimes. The counselors are there to help. And then the deadlines are on the college website. So each college has its own deadlines, its own communication deadline, like timelines. Each one of those is different. So one of the biggest things is to help your student narrow down their top schools and to follow those sites directly, because that is where you're going to get your best information as far as your application deadlines, when you can expect to know notices of if they're of acceptances, and that kind of thing. Okay. Spring of junior year, which is now. They've all just taken AP exams, for everybody who just completed those. Think about summer campus visits. So now is a good time to be thinking about, if you've had a few schools you wanted to check out, this spring and summer is a great time to go explore those. Looking for summer jobs, volunteering, looking for academic camps and internships. Summer is just a great time to be building your resume. Now is also a time to talk with teachers who have had a big impact on them, or who they feel like know them really well, to ask them to write recommendations. Choose teachers who can show where you're headed. Some colleges prefer or require that those teacher recommendations come from core classes, so just keep that in mind. But now's a really good time for them to start thinking about that. Senior year, some teachers get flooded with requests for recommendations, so now is a really good time for them to have those one-on-ones with those teachers and get that settled. Summertime, build and continue to add to your resume, work and volunteer, especially if you know the area you're going to go into, getting internships or experience or camp counseling in an area of interest that you'd like to pursue in college. It's a really good time to build that. Continue to visit campuses. Now students start writing resume and essays. There is an excellent, and this I think comes up, I think I have it on a slide a little bit later on, but there's one option. There's some teachers actually at the high school that do an essay and writing workshop in the summer that I would highly recommend. Both my kids have done it. They walk you through, your kid literally can lead that workshop having 2 essays ready to go, which is so helpful. It's a really great start. And they will revise and edit them as many times as they want to turn them in. It's unlimited, and so it's really great to have that professional assistance with those. Senior photo plan, summertime, think about senior pictures. Summertime's a really good idea to get a really good opportunity to get that taken care of. Senior parking passes in August. ASB photo. So the biggest thing I'll say about the ASB photo, of course they need it for everything. They don't, they don't get their packet of pictures most of the time, because most of the time they get their senior pictures taken. The thing about the ASB photo is they still need the picture taken for ID for the school and to get into games and for dances and to purchase tickets and all of that kind of stuff. There's an unofficial trend that happens sometimes where seniors, because they know it's not their photo, have some fun with their appearance. So just know that however they come in to get that ASB photo taken, the photographer has to believe that that's what your child actually looks like all the time. Okay. So there's been some kind of creative, if you ever have worked in photo day, it's sort of entertaining sometimes to see what tries to get past, and they become pretty savvy to it. So there's some creative makeup and creative hairstyles and some stuff that sort of sometimes happens, but just know that they will be watching that. So just a heads up. And then in the summer, they can also gather financial records for student aid. So just starting to prepare, sort of get prepared for fall.
So what was that senior photo plan again? Find a photographer?
Yeah, so if your student would like to get professional photos done, lots of families decide to do that before senior year. Is a time where like more professional pictures are taken.
And that's separate from the yearbook picture?
That's, so seniors, you can use, and you
Can't
can
use that
use,
one?
you can use your ASB photo also. If you would like to, students can submit an outside
Oh, you
picture.
can, okay.
And the senior section of the yearbook, their pictures are a little bit bigger and in full color to give the opportunities for seniors to put in a picture.
And
of
you just
themselves.
submit it to the yearbook staff?
Yes, and that will come through, the ASB will help communicate, or the ASB, the PTA will help communicate all of that. There's lots of reminders about, here's the link, send your photo, and here's the deadline. Yes.
So just a quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a certain resume format that the colleges are looking for? Is there something standard or just whatever?
It really depends. There's the Common App, which a lot of schools use. There's one called the Common App. There's a couple different systems. And depending on the schools that you apply for, I hate to say that, there's not really one that fits all of them. The Common App is one that I hear sort of most frequently. And if you do decide to take this, the resume class in the summer, they do actually get your child through most of the Common App as well. So they do get them started and set up with that as well. So they try to give them a boost and a head start with some of those specifics of getting started on their applications.
So
Yes.
I would just add that within Naviance, Naviance is a tool to research and explore universities, as well as complete applications, and teachers will submit their letters of recommendation, transcripts are submitted through there as well. And so not every university uses the Common App. There are a fair number that will. And in Naviance, you'll have the ability to explore those universities that your child might be interested in. And the nice thing about it is they don't have to necessarily create an application for each school because it's a common application.
Were you asking about having a separate resume in addition to applications?
I was just wondering if there's like a certain format that the colleges are looking for resume, like this is a format we want for your resume. No, it's just.
Not typically. On the Common App, it'll say if you have a resume, you can upload it here. And so if your kiddo has worked or has volunteer hours or clubs and they have it all on a resume, if they've been looking for jobs, they can upload that as an extra piece of information. For the
But they're
schools to
gonna
see.
ask also all those questions. Where have you worked? Where have
Yeah.
you volunteered?
Yeah.
So basically it's,
It's redundant.
it's redundant. I've never had a college ask one of my kids to submit an actual resume. I think it's mainly to get them organized
Yeah.
on how to answer
So
the
their
questions.
information is there and ready for them.
Yeah.
And if I can just add one more thing. We did have a question online. So for those that came in late, I'm Andrew Johnson, I'm the technology director for the district. And so I'm helping to moderate our Zoom and our remote participants. And so any questions that they're asking, I'm gonna help feed the panelists. We did have a question online that asked, how do we sign up as a parent on the Students Naviance account? Because it was listed in an earlier slide. And so I did just want to share.
Yes.
If you go to student.naviance.com/MIHS, there is a parent or guardian button. And you can click this forgot your password, and it will send you a link to reset your password. You do have to use the same email that you use in Skyward. We synchronize your Skyward information with Naviance, which is how we get transcripts in there as well. And so that's one way that you can also go in there and help your students explore along with the counselors. So I wanted to share that. And then you were talking a little bit earlier, and there was a question about senior photos, and there was a question online that just kind of asked for clarification on what a senior photo is and where does it appear and how.
Okay, so senior photos they are an unofficial part. They're definitely not required. It is individually up to each family. Many families choose to do it, and really you're finding a professional photographer or a family friend that takes great pictures. It doesn't have to be a paid package through a photographer, but typically it's in the setting that's more can be a park, it can be by the lake, it can be like a city. You can choose like a cityscape, but it's a picture of your student in their choice of it's basically a professional shot of your student. And some of them are more fun and some of them are, there's a wide range of what families choose to do. But it's really just getting a professional shot of your child. And then those pictures in 2x3 wallet size, whatever, you upload those. There's a place to upload them for the yearbook, and the link will be sent with very comprehensive information on how to submit them and how to get them in.
The way I look at it is it's a keepsake for you. It's not necessary, but it's a, you know,
A way to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to celebrate their success and to mark the occasion for them.
A lot of people use them for their graduation announcements as
Yes.
well.
But also it's an easy place if you feel under pressure to take things off your list. I have three sons, two have graduated, and with the first son, we spent hundreds of dollars on the senior portrait, pictures, multiple poses and outfits, and you know, they came out nicely. Child number two, I realized, you know, I don't know that we need to do that again. And so I took my iPhone down to the lake and we got some really phenomenal pictures. And honestly, big scheme of things, I think it worked out really well. So just, you know, don't feel guilty
Yes.
if you end up just taking a nice picture where they're showered. And you feel-
And you can't tell when you submit the pictures. There's nothing that says where the picture was taken from. If you have a great eye and can take a really nice picture, that is plenty. That is something that works really well for your family.
and boys do not like wardrobe
Or
changes.
boys
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
My daughter did the giant package of 4 outfit changes as well. My son was like, I can wear this and I'll put my Letterman jacket on.
Then I'll take it off.
And we need about a half an hour, and that was it. So, yes. Yes, you can.
The resume writing class, is that a part of summer school? Where do they find
It's
it?
separate. I have a link a little bit later, so I will share that with you. It is not, it is completely separate. It is not sponsored by the school, but it happens to be run by 2 really well-informed teachers that can help quite a bit. So if it's something you're interested in, I do have a link
Did you
later on.
receive our emails that with the newsletter? Did you receive the junior class email?
Specifically of the junior class?
Yeah,
I have the PTSA.
in the PTSA on our website, and then of course the letter that you get from the presidents has a button to link you to our website. But if you scroll down, that information's in the newsletter blog.
In the newsletter. And also on the top, if you can't remember that, if you go to the top of the PTA website and go to seniors and scroll down, it should be in that information as well. Okay. Oh, okay. Any other, I feel like I might have seen a hand over here. Everyone good? Okay. All right. Fall of senior year. We've barely gotten through summer. Okay, fall is here. There's a senior meeting in the PAC with Jostens for their cap and gown orders. This happens early in the fall, like September. And Jostens will come and show them all their stuff. They don't have to order it then. They bring the information home to you, and then you can go online and choose what you would like to order from Jostens. Your senior yearbook photos are due sometime in November, so just keep that date in the back of your mind somewhere. Senior ads are due in January or February. This year they were due in February. The PTA website, the PTA tries to help push those deadlines out, that you'll get lots of reminders about those so that you won't miss those. For anyone so senior ads, I don't know if you've noticed in the back of the yearbooks every year, there's usually a smaller picture and maybe a baby picture with a "We love you, mom and dad," to graduating seniors. So you can get, there's different sizes of those. It's definitely an optional thing. If you'd like to do one as a family, you will get information about how to purchase those and how to submit one of those if you would like. There are college application information sessions that happen through the school in September, so watch for those. And then there is a night called Attend Beyond High School Night in October that explores multiple options for seniors to help them identify where they're headed next after high school. There's lots of options. So some dates to be aware of: early admission and decision. College deadlines are November 1st. Typically, you can follow this in Naviance. Naviance is truly like, if there's one thing you do tonight, go sign up for a parent account on Naviance because it's the thing that's gonna connect you to the college information the best. FAFSA can be filled out starting October 1st, and each school has their own FAFSA deadline, which can get confusing. So it really is truly individualized to each school. Okay, winter. Regular admission deadlines can be as early as November and run up to March. So again, you're gonna narrow down your list. Some students have less. My first child, I was saying, had 11 schools. My second child applied for 2 schools. So it really depends on your kid and what their plans are and what their goals are for after high school. So, but each school will have their own admissions deadlines. And it can be anywhere from November through March. You can research merit scholarship due dates on the college website. Some of them automatically apply you for a merit scholarship when you apply. Some of them it's a separate process. So each individual school will walk you through that. And they might be early. Check financial aid requirements at your schools. Work on your FAFSA. The FAFSA comes up several times, you'll notice. There's a profile worksheet, and then the due dates are all school specific. So that's the bottom line of this, is every school has a different application deadline. They have a different acceptance timeframe, that some are rolling acceptance, some all send them on the same date. And then there's early acceptance and early admittance. And those are 2
Early decision.
early decision, early accept, what is it?
Early action.
Early action and early decision. Okay, and those are 2 separate terms to be familiar with. Does someone want to explain? Missy, will you explain those?
Early action means that they are applying to one school that they are saying, if you accept me, I will come, and it's binding. You can't get out of it. Early decision is you're applying early, but you can also apply to other schools, and wherever you get in, you can choose.
I think you got him flipped around.
Yeah.
I think it's the other way
Oh,
around.
did I flip them around?
Early
Yeah.
decision is the binding one, I'm pretty
Early
sure.
Sorry,
decision is about-
sorry, clarify that on Zoom.
Early decision, you're committing to a school if you get in. You're saying, I'm applying, you're my #1 school. If you accept me, I will commit.
And you usually find out in early December.
And you get an early.
Yes, you find out very early.
And then early action, you apply to that school and you apply on the early deadline, but you also can consider, and you're not committed to accept the admittance if you're,
And what can they do to you if you change your mind? How exactly do they bind you?
for early decision.
Money,
Money, there's a forfeit, there's a fee that you end up paying? It'd be interesting to know how.
What I understand is that the school, the counselors, once you do, at least that's what I read, once you pay and do an early decision, and you get accepted, the counselors will try to make sure that you are applying for the school.
Yeah, you want to be very sure if you're doing an early.
And it's an honor code kind of
It
thing,
is,
you just
yeah.
go ahead.
Can I put a tip out to just float, because it is confusing, like when you're, and again, I have boys and I do not mean to stereotype in any way, but I will say that as organized as my kids were in a lot of areas of their life, crafting different deadlines and stuff for college, as many schools as they tend to look at, was really tricky. And so this was a case where, working off of Google Drive, we had a shared document that we could both hop into. And I, try and encourage them to do as much as possible. But then if I saw that maybe they hadn't, it was sort of this more collaborative kind of thing. And so personally, we found Google Drive, the spreadsheets, Google Sheets to be super, super helpful in this whole process, because there are so many different deadlines and, deliverables and all this different stuff that I thought it was a great thing. Otherwise, you will find yourself just hounding, even if you have a college counselor, and that's not fun. So.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I would encourage you to really be a part of the process. I know a lot of people that kids are very capable and they just let them kind of go out and do it. But to be part of it and double check things, and if your kiddo will allow you to do it, I have a really good friend whose son, for example, in the California state system, it's one website and you go in and you just check the college that you want. So Cal State Fullerton, Cal Poly, Cal State Long Beach. Well, he had applied to San Diego State and had been waiting and waiting and waiting for his acceptance. And he ended up getting an acceptance from Cal State Long Beach. And had never even applied to San Diego State and thought he had, and it was just a little tiny, like, scroll down. They were near each other or whatever it was, and it, it was done. She was like, I didn't even look. So be a part of the process, and they are gonna be bleary eyed, so they need you guys to be a part of the process with them.
You mentioned counselors. Did hiring outside counselors or school counselors?
We've done both.
You've done-
So we did, with my older son, we had a private counselor in addition to the school counselor. And I personally found it really helpful. But then with second kid, I'm making my poor second child sound like he was just neglected. But I do feel like we learned enough that second go around, it made it easier. And, the high school counselors, I think, again, my advice, be their best friend. Do not be mean to them. Just be nice, be supportive, understand they've got a ton of kids that they're handling. Because they can be helpful, but they have very limited time. And so they're not going to be the one to walk you through and help sort through things in your mind. So you have to be very strategic in what you ask them. And so I guess it just kind of depends on your own comfort level with doing research on schools, your own knowledge of academia and different programs and that kind of thing. Maybe friends and family that have advice that you trust. But again, I don't think there's a right answer because we did it both ways and I think it worked out okay. But we just learned enough the first time that it felt okay.
Neither one of my boys used a private counselor.
So with such limited time, what are some examples or questions you would ask the high school counselor?
Well, you have to, so with transcripts, if there's like a glitch and something's not working with Naviance and something was missing, they are your advocate and they're the ones that are gonna help you with that. We did ask questions about specific schools here and there. It just, we had to go in again, kind of with strategic questions. Do you think we should, what do you think of that program versus this, given my child's interest? Or if we have to pick, in the case of my older son, we're doing early decision. So that was a little more stressful because we wanted to make sure that one school was his top choice. And it ended up being it, and it's a great choice. So it all worked out well for him. But I think the other thing that the counselors will tell you, sometimes they're a good gut check, because they'll say, make sure you're applying to in-state schools. God forbid something happens, even if your kids know that they want to go out of state. And both my boys were like, we're not staying in state. We lived in Washington all our lives. We absolutely want to go out of state. My husband and I had both done the same. We were like, we're never staying in our home state schools. We're going out of state. But we kind of followed the counselor's recommendation. Okay, fine, we'll do this just as a backup. Well, my older son or my middle son had a health issue come up like the week before he was supposed to go out of state to school that forced us to bring him back, and he had gotten into UW's engineering. We went back to UW and just said, hey, we got an issue here. He's got a health issue that we don't know what it is. We've got to deal with it with him locally here, doctors here. And it was a godsend to be able to go back to UW and to say, he's already gotten in, we don't need to reapply. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was really, really good advice that Susan Brown gave us. And all the counselors gave the same advice. So that just was important. Luckily, she gave me advice that overruled what my kids and I had thought we would need to do.
All right. Next spring. So acceptance letters start coming in the spring. May 1, coming back to acceptance letters, this makes an assumption And so one other thing I would say, as your child is looking at schools, and as you're trying to decide which schools to apply to, there's a range. And so the advice that I was given, and I really, really like this for my kids, and then in general, I think is just really smart, is pick some schools that you know that are right in your range. We all know where our kids at, they know where they're at. Pick several schools you know they'll be happy at, no matter what, that they're pretty confident that their scores and their grades and everything match up with that school. And then pick some that are reaches. This is my favorite school, and I look like I could get in, and it's who knows either way, because there's schools that are going to be easier to get into and schools that will be harder to get into. And both can be great for our kids. Like, it's better to be in the top third in a school than to have barely gotten in and feel like they're drowning. And so, and not that those aren't still also great places to go for reach schools, but I would say give your child a range so that when they're looking at making decisions, when these acceptance come in, they have some options and some choices that feel really good and that will feel like they'll be a great choice for them. So I just wanted to add that to that piece. Okay, so May 1 is usually the commitment date. That's usually for many schools, that's the I am committed to this school. And that's a lot of times when the announcements will come out. Kids who have been on the fence. My oldest daughter literally declared and committed on May 1st. So before that, she was really unsure. So she took all the way to May 1st to make her decision. AP tests happen in the spring. Senior meetings, April and May during Islander Hour is when those will happen for your seniors, some of those things. End of year awards start. Some of those have been arts, sports, clubs, etc. For fall and winter sports, the senior nights will happen during your sports season. So those may have already happened. Prom is in mid-May. Senior skip day is also mid-May. This is an unofficial event that will happen. And can we go to the next slide? Because I think the next slide shows this. So that is, senior skip day is a family discussion. Know that it will come home. Your kid will be like, tomorrow's senior skip day. And we will just let you have that discussion as a family.
And what is senior skip?
It's
They don't go to school.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
They do not go to school.
They skip school that day.
They skip school that day, yes.
Just one day of that.
One official day. Some may have several more unofficial skip days as well, depending on the child. We hope that there are fewer rather than more plentiful, but
I do
yeah.
feel like that there's some synergy between the high school administration and maybe the actual senior skip day, because it's not like the teachers are gonna be surprised. So there's
Right.
usually
There's a
unofficial
heads up.
understanding.
Well, and I'll tell you traditionally, this is an unofficial talk, right? So usually the official senior skip day is the Monday after prom. I'll just throw it out there that that's traditionally a heads up, like that's usually when it is. It could change, it doesn't have to always be, but that is historically, that's a day to sort of watch for, or keep in mind.
Do they skip and have something they're going to do or just skip?
It depends.
You probably just go do stuff with their friends.
Yeah.
And that synergy is the old, you can't beat them, join them.
Yes. And a lot of the teachers, like my son's teachers, were aware. It's unofficial, but it does happen, so.
And so are the juniors, because that means they can go parking.
Yes. Exactly. There's some spots. Okay. Spring continues with senior awards nights, which are at the end of May or early June. Senior finals are 3 days before graduation. The senior assembly is the Monday before graduation, typically like 1:30 to 3 p.m. if anyone's very advanced in their calendar planning. Baccalaureate is an interfaith. It's not denominational, but it invites all the faiths to come together. So that's a really nice evening. One of the local, the churches take turns hosting that every year, and they invite and try to have representation from all different faiths to either sing or speak or just something inspirational. And the PTA partners with them to help coordinate that evening. And then next year, I do actually have your graduation day.
I'm putting it in my calendar now.
June 15th. It's because school does not get out, you guys, until June 23rd next year. So even though so graduation this year is June 9th, and it's been the 8th or 9th, next year, for some reason, our calendar, the kids go through the 23rd. So graduation is typically the Thursday before the last day of school, like before the last week of school, I will say. So they will get out a little bit early, even though it doesn't seem like that. I did a double take when I saw that date, but that is the date. Okay. And then, yeah, okay, that's okay. Graduation day. Here, this is the current model. This has changed over the years. We currently, there have been lots of different locations for graduation. I have a feeling the current setup might be in place for a little while. So I'll share with you what is happening this year, hoping that it will help for next year. Showwear Center is where graduation is being held. And here is the plan. The seniors will leave at 9:30 a.m. from MIHS. They will bus them down to Showwear for their graduation rehearsal. They'll return back to MIHS between 12:30 and 1. At that time, any students who purchase a lei, and all that information will come from the PTA, from communications, you'll know all about lei ordering if you would like. That is when those will get distributed. So your child will get off the bus and they will get their lei if they've ordered one then. At 4:30, the seniors need to arrive at Showwear, and they'll need to be dropped off because they're not going home from Showwear. So this is a little tricky. This will be interesting to sort of problem solve this year. We're kind of in a new zone, so some of this is still in process as far as the smoothness of how this will all work. Because as you guys know, Showwear is not close. So to drop off your senior at 4:30 for 6:30 ceremony, there's going to be some creative stuff happening here, I think. They need to arrive in cap and gown. They need to bring their lei, and I have that in caps because we know how responsible our kids are, but they're going to have a lot going on at that and in their mind. So make sure they bring their lei if they have it with them. And they're not allowed to have bags or any personal items. So when they come, they need to literally be in cap and gown. If they're going to change, parents bring that with them. But the kids aren't allowed to have any type of bags or personal belongings with
What
them.
about cell phones?
I don't know about cell phones.
It's been a big.
That has changed too, hasn't it? I'm not sure. I will refrain from that one just because I don't want to give you false information. So I'm not sure.
In previous years, they did take them away because
Yes.
that way they couldn't connect with, this is probably more detailed than you guys even need a year out, but it was because in that overnight party, then they couldn't.
Yes,
connect
they're
with
not
people
allowed to
they
have.
But
yes.
now they're allowed to have cell phones for the senior party.
Yes, so I am not sure about graduation. I am not, that's.
Well, we'll communicate that to you.
It will
so
all be
you don't even have to
communicated.
worry about that
It
right
probably
now.
will depend on what happens this year.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But I am not sure. Okay, graduation itself is from 6:30 to 8:30 at Showwear. That should, this timeline, I'm guessing will remain the same or very similar for you next year. So subject to change, of course, with anything that can happen, but 8:30 to 9, you give your senior a hug, take pictures, they change clothes. And then at 9 o'clock, they are boarding the buses. So there will be giant charter buses down at Showwear ready to pick up your seniors to go to the all-night party where they will be fed and entertained and kept busy and chaperoned and kept busy all night long in a safe and fun way. It's the whole point of that is to, yeah. And it's tradition for junior parents to be there after graduation so that senior parents can take pictures with their kids before they head out to the party. And so traditionally we ask for junior parents to help check students in for the party. And at 6 a.m. someone will need to pick them up at the MIHS parking lot after their night of fun. So that is a day at a glance of actual graduation day.
So senior party is here?
It is not here. It is at a secret location.
Secret.
Or
Nobody knows,
Yeah.
except that the senior activities chair is the only one that knows, and the PTA presidents know as well. And there is more than one like location, so they actually do 2 or 3 different locations throughout the night. And they feed them, and there's like blackjack, and there's entertainment, and there's all kinds of stuff happening. So it's a really fun night, highly encouraged. And those tickets go on sale in the spring, in April, right after spring break timeframe. So,
Part of the reason for this secret is, one, it's fun to have it be a secret, and 2, it was they didn't want party crashers. So if your child chose to go and participate, and this is why previously cell phones weren't allowed,
yeah.
they couldn't call their friends
Yeah.
saying, you bring some booze, meet me at this place,
Yes.
and then they crash the party. So the whole reason that senior party, and a lot of high schools do it, was set up was to get our kids after the excitement of graduation, to keep them from drinking and driving and getting into accidents. So this is a sort of a fun way to have that last huge party with all of their classmates, but they're safely chaperoned to different venues.
Yes,
And blackjack is for fun. Tell them, don't bring money for gambling.
yes, there's
Yeah,
never-
yeah,
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 yeah.
There are raffles and door prizes and all kinds of stuff at the party itself. And they do need to commit for the full night. They don't let students come and go, so if your child is in, they're in for the entire, they're in
Sounds
from
like
9
the
to
best
6.
thing I wish I could cook.
Yes.
Well, you know what? We're gonna need chaperones next year,
Yes, they are always in need of parent chaperones to attend this. So if this is an interest, they need, and I'll just make a plug. They always need a pit boss for the blackjack table and dealers. And then also a medical, we really try to have one of the chaperones be a medical professional, just in case, to keep someone on site to help keep them safe. So,
I have to say that I did not chaperone for my oldest daughter. And I was told that she, how some people are able to be hypnotized and some aren't. Well, my kid was, and I guess it was hysterical. And I really regret miss that. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, even if your kid doesn't want you anywhere near them, you can go chaperone, and there's a chance they won't see you the entire night. So that is possible. Okay, what do we have next? Okay, so class of 2023. So setting up a Facebook group will happen soon. If you're interested in doing that, let us know. If not, watch for it, because it will be popping up sometime soon. And usually it's an organic effort that everybody adds the parents that they know in that class. And so, but look for it. If for some reason you think, hey, I haven't heard anything about that, you can search for it. It's generally an open group. It's not closed, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. Sign up for the summer essay writing seminar. And Andrews, I think this might be a link. If it's possible to check that out. This is the link for the registration for the essay writing workshop. This is what it looks like. Registration's open. All the dates are on there. The location is at Mercer Island High School. So this seminar is actually held here, and it's got the dates and more information on what's offered. So that's all right here. Okay.
And the 2 people that are hosting it there,
It's Johnson and Wilkie
okay.
are the 2.
AP English
So
teachers.
Curtis
Yeah.
Johnson and David Wilkie, they teach a block of AP English and AP History for
Yeah.
junior and senior year, or some years they do junior year. So they're super experienced in writing. They're excellent writers.
Yes.
And
they actually
They've
have
done it
done
for
private
years.
college counseling.
yeah.
And so they really, really know the college system well and what they look for, and they know how to steer your student in the right direction with making sure they've got really top quality essays. And having that out of the way, out of the summer, is a huge boost for the fall when they're working on all those applications. So
So I'm assuming everybody will probably use them or can take it if they have the chance.
I used them for one of my children, and they were wonderful.
It's like,
Something kind of cool that they do is, the class I know this year was $600. They donate a decent portion of it to a nonprofit orphanage where they deliver the money themselves over to Vietnam.
Nice.
Yeah.
they're a wealth of information and advice, and they will get the essay done. They will also help your student be ready for the application process and get them really well into the process, so.
But if you are interested, sign up
Yeah,
immediately because they only take a certain amount of kiddos.
and the first set, Tuesday, June 1st, it starts right after school's out. You're gonna wanna pick a June or an August if you decide to do it, because the idea is the continuity of the class. And the June students have until August starts, and then the August set will have their attention. So you wanna sort of focus it, and they'll have a process each time they meet through that session, but yeah, and you can email here. Anyway, it's not required. They're not paying me to say this, but it is really helpful course. Okay. As senior activities chairs are still being finalized, we do not have them identified yet. I was hoping to be able to share those with you tonight, but we don't have that set in stone yet, so watch for that. However, Suzanne Riley is our communications person, and she will continue that role with helping with senior communications. And if you're interested in volunteering or potentially chairing, you can send an email to senioractivities@mihsptsa.com if you want to be on that committee. It's kind of fun. You do a lot of the planning around the senior party. And the baccalaureate, there's some senior signs. So if you like to be on committees like that and you have a senior next year, send an email to senior activities and we will make sure when we have that settled, we'll reach out. So. And is that? Okay, counselors. We mentioned counselors. I do want to mention Susie Brown is A through D, and Hillary has talked about her. It's out, as you all know, it's by alphabet. I have this up here. Hopefully you've known over the last little while who your counselor is. However, you can see up here we have 2 open counselor positions right now. Katie Johnson was just hired, which will be really fun with Kathleen Johnson. And this just happened this past week. I'm not sure which alphabet she's gonna have, so I have her down here. But, and the second one, I believe they're in final rounds of interviews. Is it this week, end of this week?
It's
So
Andy
then,
Brown, right?
what's that?
Andy Brown?
I'm sorry, they have not made a decision yet on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the second counselor
I
has
was
not
thinking
been.
Andrew Brown. Oops.
Oh, yeah, no, there has not been an offer made to a second counselor. So, but Katie Johnson is official. She will be joining the council staff. Okay, and then, let's see. Thank you. Okay, so this is I'm gonna open it up now for questions and answers with our lovely panel, and I'm gonna come and sit and join the panel. But feel free to let us know what questions you're having, and we will do our best to share. Oh, before we start that, Missy, let's start with you. Can everyone introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Missy
Okay.
Johnson. I have a current junior and a junior boy, and I have a son who just finished freshman year in college and a junior who's still just finishing college because everybody's on a different time frame.
My name is Mindy Pierce, and I have a current junior in college. I have a current senior in high school, and I have a rising sophomore.
So I'm Hillary Benson. I have a current sophomore in high school. And then I have one who's in college as a junior and one who's graduated from college.
I'm Suzanne Riley, and I have a graduated child this spring. Good talk. And then I have a junior. And I'm also doing the junior newsletters. So I just started those this spring. If you have not received at least 2 of them so far, come see me. Let's make sure that you're on my list. And then I'll be doing the senior communications next year for our class.
Which means you're in really good hands.
And I've been doing this
yeah.
since 2014, so.
And I'm Debbie Burke. I have upcoming junior in college, a senior in high school, and an incoming freshman this next year. So that's us. So what questions can we help with?
Yeah, one of the things about applications that didn't come up is if your child is in sports, and that's important for them in their college process. What can you share?
Well, I know my daughter went through the college, through athletics, and she was recruited at one of the, tournaments. And so when she went and visited, they made her an offer. So that's why I couldn't participate in all of the application stuff, because they made her a full ride offer. She went and visited, she loved it, she loved the college, she had won school, and she did it. In hindsight, as I was sharing with another parent, that, you play D1 sports, I mean, your child should be very aware that this is a job, that the coaches this is their career. They don't care about developing the young persons they have under their management. They care about winning, and they care about who's the best and who's coming in. So my advice to anyone wanting to go college, into college athletics is, it sounds glorious, especially from the high school. When they're in high school and it sounds like I'm gonna play college, it can be, but it can also be grueling and a little emotionally tough. And so then sometimes kids might start floundering. So you just want to be prepared that if you're going that direction, that your child is mentally prepared that this is a job. But that's how we did it. We sort of were kind of walked in sideways.
And I would just add that it's actually even for D3, because I have one son, the oldest one, who also did sports, went in, was quite excited, and we thought, oh, D3 will be more casual, it won't be nearly as intense as D1. And those coaches still want to win, and there's still an incredible time commitment. And so, D3, there are no scholarships attached, which is a great thing, because it does make it easier for them to say, you know what, I've done this, but I want actually the rest of my college experience to be different. So I'm not necessarily going to stick with it. And that's okay too.
Helpful, thanks.
I will say, if you have a fall athlete, I encourage you to get going on your applications in the summertime and the essays.
You did a good job.
Yeah.
My best covered it.
What was the web address for Naviance again?
students.naviance.com/MIHS, but let me just confirm, it's student, singular, not plural, .naviance.com/MIHS.
And also give you a hint, mihsptsa.org. We have a lot of quick links to all that stuff. We've got it to Naviance, we've got it to Skyward, we've got it to the InTouch payment receiving, we've got it to teacher websites. I mean, we've got a quick link for everything, little boxes on the side.
Yeah. So if you're not sure, hit the PTA website.
Okay.
See.
And all this information about, senior portraits and, senior ads and submissions, all that stuff's gonna be on the PTSA website. And then we'll also keep pushing it out to you guys in newsletters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
I didn't mean to stand up and then
Yeah.
end the meeting.
No, if anyone has any other questions, feel free, but we absolutely will let everyone back to your evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Rainy.
Hi. I don't know about this.
Yes,
Yes. The junior families. Did you get one at the top that said in the class? It had like, tomorrow is our. Got it? Okay, well,
just want to get your plans.
He's just gonna visit.
Yeah, I think I
Well, it's all-
Okay. I think I also write to the.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I might have did it.
And what was your last name?
Urban, URBAN.
Jenny?
Things come in every
Things
week,
come in, right.
every week, and then some say, you know, once a month. or
I would
something.
say probably like once a month-ish. Yeah, they probably are getting some, but they,
Looks like you did open it, so we had a junior
Like,
class
there's
some a day
simple
ago.
Place
Open.
they have to put it, so
Oh,
parents
that's
just
That's your
walk
husband.
in.
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, that is a good
And
question.
that's junior, that's
Because my son
you.
will probably be very lazy.
This is Cliff.
To, as far as finding, yes,
I mean, just go
When she clicked on
physically-
something.
to go physically search
Search.
out, okay, scholarship opportunities.
pizza.
Yeah, that's a good, no, that's a yes.
Did you recognize
I'm gonna
this?
see, let's see. I'm gonna go to the council.
Test, test, test,
No.
test, test, test.
I know, find it, find
Maybe
it
I'm
out
looking
half
at
of
or
the,
something.
Right,
half of
Well,
it.
that's what they said.
Well, the school district
Okay.
has
I mean, I've been
several.
reading all that stuff because we are helping out for graduation night and all that.
Yeah.
So it's all very familiar, but I
Yeah.
don't remember it in that format.
There's a high school.
Well,
Okay, well, I'll look in my.
yeah,
and I'll
let's keep in touch. I mean, we've reached at so many things.
Something I don't
Communications.
know.
I don't know.
Oh,
I am on the
Directorate of Education. I'm your member.
Okay.
Okay.
I am.
All right, thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
No way.
This time you just have to make sure I don't